how you construct your reality with your mind. Hi, I am your host, Guy Cheyenne, and welcome back once again to Rebuild Reality, where as always, we talk about who we really are, why we're here, and how all of this stuff works. We're going to pull out the big guns today, my friends, because we're going to go into this deep so you can see how it is that you could possibly be creating your reality in this very moment. You're doing it right now. We're all doing it. So I found an article that really demonstrates this very, very well. And that's why I wanted to share it with you guys, because trust me, this is going to open some doors that have never been opened before within your minds. So this article is called The Neuroscience Behind the World We See. And it was put out in 2020, which is a few years ago, but nonetheless, of course, it breaks this down brilliantly. So let's begin. In order to tell the story of your life, your brain needs to conjure up a world for you to live inside, with all its colors and movements and objects and sounds, just as characters in fiction exist in a reality that's been actively created, so do we. But that's not how it feels to be living as a conscious human being. It feels as if we're looking out of our skulls, observing reality directly without being impeded by anything at all. But this is not the case. The world we experience as out there is actually a reconstruction of reality that is built inside our heads. It's an act of creation by the storytelling mind. This is how it works. You walk into a room. Your mind predicts what the scene should look and feel and sound like. Then it generates a hallucination based on these predictions. It's this hallucination that you experience as the world around you. It's this hallucination you exist at the center of every minute of every day. You will never experience actual reality because you have no direct access to it. Consider that whole beautiful world around you with all its colors, sounds, and smells and textures as your brain trying to understand things, but your brain is not directly experiencing any of it. Instead, your brain is locked inside a vault of silence and darkness inside your skull. This hallucinated reconstruction of reality is sometimes referred to as the brain's model of the world, right? So for supposed accuracy, we have our senses. Our senses seem incredibly powerful, of course. Our eyes are crystalline windows through which we observe the world in all its color and detail. Our ears are open tubes into which the noises of life freely tumble. But this is not the case. They actually deliver only limited and partial information to the brain. Take the eyes, which are our dominant sense organs. If you hold out your arm and look at your thumbnail, that's all you can see in high definition and full color at once. Color ends 20 to 30 degrees outside that core, and the rest of your sight is fuzzy. You have 2 lemon-sized blind spots, and you blink 15 to 20 times a minute, which blinds you for fully 10% of your waking life. We don't even see in 3 dimensions. So how is it then that we experience our vision as being so perfect? Well, part of the answer lies in the brain's obsession with change. That large fuzzy area of your vision is sensitive to change in patterns and texture as well as movement, because out here it's just energy. So when the energy kind of shifts and moves, our eyes are right on it, right? So as soon as it detects any unexpected change, your eyes send its high definition core, which is a 1.5 millimeter depression at the center of your retina, to inspect it. This movement, known as the saccade, is the fastest in the human body. We make 4 to 5 saccades every second, over 250,000 of them in a single day. Modern filmmakers mimic saccadic, I have to look that up, saccadic behavior when editing. right? You can probably see that when things are like boom, boom, boom. Suddenly it's focused on all these different spots come into focus. That's what we're doing, in and out, in and out. So job of, excuse me, the job of all the senses is to pick up clues from the quote unquote outside world in various forms, which of course are light waves, changes in air pressure, chemical signals. That information is translated into millions of tiny electrical pulses. Your brain reads these electrical pulses in effect like a computer reads code. It uses that code to actively construct your reality, fooling you into believing this controlled hallucination is real. It then uses its senses as fact checkers, rapidly tweaking what it's showing you whenever it detects something unexpected. So it's because of this process that we sometimes see things that aren't actually there. Say it's dusk and you think you've seen a strange stooping man with a top hat and a cane loitering by a gate, but you soon realize it's just a tree stump and some bramble. You say to your friend that's supposedly sitting next to you, "Oh, I thought I saw a weird guy over there." Well, you did see that weird guy over there. Your brain thought he was there, so it put him there. Then when you approach with new, more accurate information, and it was detected that way, it rapidly redrew the scene and your hallucination was updated. Similarly, we often don't see things that are actually there all the time. And I love this part, and I mentioned this the other day. There was a series of iconic experiments that had participants watch a video of people throwing a ball around. They had to count the number of times the ball was passed from person to person. And half of the people didn't spot a man in a gorilla suit that walked directly into the middle of the screen, banged his chest 3 times, and sat there for a full 9 seconds before he finally left. Didn't see him. Half the people just didn't see him. Was completely edited out by the mind. It's like, nope, not there. Nope, not there. So this is why everything is there. All the things that you've been wanting, all the things that you've been trying to manifest, that you've been dreaming of, that you've been hoping for, that you've been wanting in your life are there. Your mind is editing them out because they don't fit your belief system, because you don't believe in them, because you don't believe you can actually have them. That's why your mind's going, okay, you said that, and this is literally what is happening. That's why in scripture it's like your belief is everything, because it is, because without it you can't see true reality, let alone the things that you want. So there was other tests that confirmed that we can also be blind to auditory information. The sound of someone saying, "I am a gorilla" for 19 seconds. Half the people just never heard it. So we can also be blind to touch and smell information as well. There's a surprising limit actually to how much our brains can process. Past that limit and the object is simply edited out. It's not included in our hallucinated reality. It literally becomes invisible to us. These findings have dire potential consequences, according to this article. In a test of a simulated police vehicle stop, 58% of trainees failed to notice a gun positioned in full view on the passenger side dashboard when they pulled the car over. Not only did 50% of trainees not see something that was right there, a freaking gun, 33% of experienced officers didn't see it either. So it's like, ooh. So things naturally become worse when our fact-checking senses become damaged as well. When people's eyesight suddenly develop flaws, their hallucinatory model of reality can begin to flicker and fail at that point. And when this happens, people can, according to the article, sometimes see clowns, circus animals, and cartoon characters. Why they chose that, I don't know. in the areas that have gone dark. Religious people have apparent visitations. These individuals are not mad, but neither are they rare. The condition actually affects millions. Dr. Todd Feinberg writes of a patient of his named Lizzie who suffered strokes in her occipital lobes. I think I'm saying that right. As can happen in such cases, her brain didn't immediately process the fact that she had gone suddenly and completely blind. So it continued projecting its hallucinated model of the world for her. When visiting her at the hospital, Feinberg inquired if she was having trouble with her vision in any way. No, she said. When he asked her to take a look around and tell him what she saw, she moved her head accordingly. Oh, it's good to see friends and family, she said. It makes me feel like I'm in good hands. But there was nobody else there. And so he said, tell me their names. And she was like, well, I don't know everybody. They're my brother's friends. And then he said, look at me. What am I wearing? And she said, well, a casual outfit, a jacket and pants, mostly navy blue and maroon. He was wearing hospital whites. Lizzie continued her chat, smiling and acting as if she hadn't a care in the world. And why would she? These relatively recent findings by neuroscientists demand a spooky question, according to the article. If our senses are so limited, how do we know what's actually happening inside the dark vault of our skulls? Disturbingly, we don't know for sure. Like an old television, they can only pick up black and white. Our biological technology simply can't process most of what's actually going on in the giant ocean of electromagnetic radiation that surrounds us. And it's that energy that's out there that we are making into anything you want. You're making it into all objects. You're making it into yourself when you look in the mirror, look down at yourself. You're making this electromagnetic radiation, this energy around us, into people, places, things, personalities, all of it. We're doing all of it with our belief system, with what we think we're going to get, with what we expect to be there, right? So human eyes are able to read less than one, I love this. Human eyes are able to read less than 1/10 trillionth of the light spectrum. Less than 1/10 trillionth of the light spectrum. That's what our eyes see. This is what I mean, that all of this stuff is here. Everything you want is here right now. The universe always says yes. It's always everything. All of it's there. If you can think of it, it's there. The only thing that's stopping you from seeing it and then experiencing it is because you don't believe it. Bottom line, right? So 1/10 trillionth of the light spectrum, well, just say nothing, right? Just go ahead and say nothing. They don't want to obviously be responsible for saying nothing, Evolution, according to this, evolution shaped us with perceptions that allow us to survive. The cognitive scientist, Professor Donald Hoffman, has said, but part of that involves hiding from us the stuff we don't need to know. And that's pretty much all of reality, whatever reality might be, it says. Yes, you're starting to get the picture here, right? We do know that actual reality is radically different than the model of it that we experience in our heads. For instance, there's no sound out there. If a tree falls in a forest and there's no one around to hear it, it creates changes in air pressure and vibrations in the ground. The crash is an effect that happens in the brain. The only sound is what we're making up with our mind. That's it. Otherwise, there is no sound. And this really correlates to a lot of people who have had near-death experiences. The same with me, and this happened to me, where there is silence. Complete silence. Silence like you've never heard silence before. Usually you hear yourself breathing, you hear your heartbeat, things like that. But no, this is utter silence because there is no sound. In reality, we make it all up in our heads. And when you stub your toe, and feel pain throbbing out of it, that too is an illusion. That pain is not in your toe, but it's in your mind. Right? How many people out there, including myself, who have gone through tremendous amounts of pain, like pretty much kill you pain. It's all happening in here. Every single bit of it. But when you know that information, when it comes in, you can deny it. You can be like, no, I know that my mind is creating that. This is how, when we understand these things, that they're literally happening within our own minds, that we begin to understand that we can control it. So there is no color out there either. Atoms, which make up all matter, are colorless. All the colors we do see are a blend of 3 cones that sit in the eye: red, green, and blue. This makes us Homo sapiens relatively impoverished members of the animal kingdom. Some birds have 6 cones. Mantis shrimps have 16. And I love this part. Bees' eyes are able to see the electromagnetic structure of the sky. I think I'm going to put that on my list, because wow, bees see the freaking electromagnetic structure of the sky. That's incredible. The colorful worlds they experience go far beyond human imagination. Even the colors we do see are mediated by culture. Russians are raised to see 2 types of blue, and as a result, they see 8 striped rainbows. Color is a lie. Color is set dressing worked up by our minds. One theory has it that we began, this is hilarious, painting colors onto objects millions of years ago in order to identify ripe fruit. Okay. Anyway, so I think people are just kind of grasping at straws here, you know, and you can begin to see how much of science and certain fields out there are trying to explain things, but they're assuming there must be some reality to it, and there's just not, right? The only thing we'll ever really know are that those electrical pulses that are sent up by our senses, our storytelling mind, that it uses those pulses to create the colorful set in which we play out our lives. It populates that set with a cast of actors with goals and personalities, and finds plots for us to follow. Even sleep is no barrier to the mind, which has its story-making processes that it carries out there as well. Dreams feel real because they're made out of the same hallucinated neural models we live inside when awake. The sights are the same, the smells are the same, objects feel the same to the touch. Craziness happens partially because the fact-checking senses are offline, according to this. Partly because the brain has to make sense of chaotic bursts of neural activity that are the results of our state of temporary paralysis. It explains this confusion as it explains everything, by roughing together a model of the world and magicking it into a cause and effect story, just like we do when we're awake. For this insight, he is this gentleman who talks about it. He is, oh no, sorry, I'm talking about something else there. So I wanted to add in a bit to this article about Galileo, because Galileo spoke about these things. That's why he was such a Renaissance man, right? So he recognized that not everything was amenable to a quantitative approach. Such things as colors, taste, and smells are no more than mere names. It's not a thing, it's a name. We name things that aren't even there, which is why Galileo declared that they reside only in consciousness. These qualities aren't really out there in the world, he asserted, but exist only in the minds of creatures that perceive them, including us. Hence, if the living creature were removed, he wrote, all these would disappear. So are we literally the ones creating reality? You betcha. Is there a reality there without us? Not at all. So it's pretty fascinating. It's pretty eye-opening when we look at it from these angles, and then we begin to understand why the conclusions of people like the famous physicist John Wheeler, who said there's no out there, and Neville Goddard, who said the world is you pushed out, are actually correct. And when we put these things together, like I say, when we take our spiritual understandings, our New Age thoughts, understandings, the new thought leaders like Neville Goddard, and we put them together with quantum physics, we put them together with psychology, we put all the little things together, and you get a picture of exactly what the heck is going on here. And now when you understand that you are not perceiving reality as it is, then all those little stories your mind tells you, it's like, no. Then we can begin to truly create anything we want. And we're going to go into that farther, in the next couple of videos, and probably many more after that, about exactly how we're going to do that. But first things first, you understand this is not real. And I'd encourage anyone out there to go ahead and look up things about, do we see reality? Do our senses pick up reality? Things like this. And you're going to find all kinds of information that, nope. We see, and a lot of articles will just be like, oh, maybe a little. No, just say no. I'm sorry, but 1/10 trillionth of the light spectrum is 0. Anyway, I hope that has helped as we really pull back the curtains on this stuff and learn how to manifest. And we're going to go into that word later, with intention. But when you've got the structure, you've got the foundation of all of this, and you understand what reality is, then you can control it. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I am your host, of course, Sky Cheyenne, and thank you once again for being with me here on Rebuild Reality. Thank you as always for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will consider it. And thank you for liking, for sharing, of course, for commenting. And I'm going to see you guys here next time on Rebuild Reality.